I'm going to play. I'm going to play block shots. Block shots. Oh yeah. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to just keep quiet, so you better keep out. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
I've got hemophiliac roots, so I avoid collisions every reshoot. Hotel tower, that was bring me liberty. Know that the devil ain't as good in 3. Hot drop, big body aligned by heaven. Hold that thought, stay a single. 5 seconds be like my mama. Bear me, bear children. Proud papa, father with your ball in the field. But baby, where's your pass block? Triple coverage in the end zone. I call the shots, I'm the one that scarred you. But stripes do harmonize. Use your body, use your brain. Build that body, feed that name, prove that theory, know you're sane, work till glory, end the game like use your body, use your brain, build that body, feed that name, prove that theory, know you're sane, work till glory, end the game. Green-eyed child, green-eyed child, mail the bulls, retrieve the child. Green-eyed child, green-eyed child, mail the bulls, retrieve the child. Green-eyed child, green-eyed child, mail the bulls, retrieve the child. Green-eyed child, green-eyed child, mail the bulls. Green-eyed child, mail the bulls, retrieve the child. Green-eyed child. Green-eyed child, mail the bulls, retrieve the child. Green-eyed child, mail the bulls.
Convenience isn't just about saving time. It's about giving you more of what matters most. Food you love, friends you cherish, and moments that...
Welcome to the match. Fans seem like they are really looking forward to the game. The match has begun. Nice block. Into open space. Clear sight of goal. Losing possession. Fails to keep the ball. Heavy shot. Oh, so close.
This is not so close. So close.
Restart from the goalkeeper.
So close.
Good ball movement and a decent position here.
Boom, boom, bounce.
Square pass.
Boom.
Securing possession.
Goal! Goal! Langi! Go that, put that goal.
Opening quarter of
Put
an
that
hour
goal.
complete.
Put
Teams
that
looking
goal.
to establish
The
control.
dogs, yeah. No, you should go.
There goes the ball. Losing possession.
Yes. Boom. Boom.
Fails to keep the ball. Reads the play beautifully.
That's
Knocks it towards to the front.
Angi, karangi.
Heavy shot. Needs some improvement on shot accuracy. Sending it deep. Losing possession. Fails to keep the ball. Square
La
pass.
pele, bro. Nini waende mbele.
Nice block.
Pa.
It's in.
Goal.
Plenty of
Goal.
power on that.
All around.
He scored.
When they shoot, you did the shoot. Oh yeah, give
The
me
score
the
is now
dab.
2-0.
Give me the dab. Oh, 2-0.
Good play,
Give me the-
1-on-1.
Hey. 2-0. 2-0.
Pushing it forward.
2-0.
Keeping possession nicely.
2-0.
Heavy shot.
Guys, corner, yes.
Impressive.
Got a head too.
Here's the cross. What a good pass that is. Couldn't quite get them. It's in. Plenty of
Guys,
power on
we
that.
pick up our
Worth a try anyway. Stoppage time has been revealed on the electronic board.
Very good. No.
Fails to keep the ball. Square pass. Clear away to safety.
Karangi na karablo.
Pushing it forward. Delicately played. An entertaining finish. Both teams were quite aggressive in the game. The second half begins. Losing possession. A very timely interception. Knocks it towards to the front. Pushing it forward. this by very much. Goal kick. Launching it long. Knocks it towards to the front. What an amazing save! The keeper just saved the team. Great power, but poor direction. Beautiful long pass. Two-thirds of the match complete. Fascinating tactical battle. Fails to keep the ball. That will certainly mean a booking here. A challenge. The referee's got a decision to make. It's a shot on goal. They are looking to create space. The score is now 2-0. Keeping possession. Good play, one-on-one. It's a high-quality stop. They're setting up for a quick one. Well-timed tackle. Spotted the opportunity. What brilliant anticipation from the goalkeeper. Losing possession. Fails to keep the ball.
To defeat any opponent with a single punch, no matter how big or powerful. His hands at her and shoots a fire beam. He's headquarters. An official talks about the ninja being a criminal. The head official asks a female operator about some problems in Saitama's city. She tells him that 2 heroes are investigating will soon wipe out City Z. He adds that nothing can be. The threat is now demon level. The crowned monster hears the alert. King with a bright flash, he flies down and punches. Now that the threat level is demon, he says he only came to the show to promote his new song. The attacks and mocks the Sea King attacks. The monster asks, "Why were you in prison?" "And thanks for letting me escape," he says. "I was in prison because I like attacking beautiful men." The monster walks out and faces them. The hero says, "You are very strong, but you beat up the men I like." He powers up, becoming bigger, but destroys his sweatshirt. He gets angry and says, "My boyfriend made that for me." He tells the monster, "I am going to kill you." It licks its lips and says, "Let me get serious," and punches the hero. He punches the monster back. Then he punches it again. It flies backward and says, "Your attack didn't hurt." The hero also tells him, "Your attacks are weak too." Sonic thinks the hero is pretending to be tough, but the punch clearly hurt. He decides they're both weak and easy to defeat. The hero thinks, "That punch was stronger than I expected. I must fight seriously." He knows, but not sight. As they face each other, a boy shouts, "You can do it." Sonic tells him, "If you're going to fight the sea, I was in prison because I like attacking beautiful men." The monster walks out and faces them. The hero says, "You are very strong, but you beat up the men I like." He powers up, becoming bigger, but destroys his sweatshirt. He gets angry and says, "My boyfriend made that for me." He tells the monster, "I am going to kill you." It licks its lips and says, "Let me get serious," and punches the hero. He punches the monster back. Then he punches it again. It flies backward and says, "Your attack didn't hurt." The hero also tells him, "Your attacks are weak too." Sonic thinks the hero is pretending to be tough, but the punch clearly hurt. He decides they're both weak and easy to defeat. The hero thinks, "That punch was stronger than I expected. I must fight seriously." He transforms and becomes naked, which surprises the monster. Sonic thinks, "I don't want to watch this naked man fight." The hero says, "No one has seen this form and survived." The monster tells him, "You look disgusting." The hero jumps into the air, flies down and starts punching him. Elsewhere, Genos locates them and tries to call Saitama, but can't reach him. He heads toward the fighters. The hero breathes heavily after the punch attacks. The monster is not injured, which surprises them. It dashes toward him, punches him in the gut, on his shoulder, and gives him an uppercut. As he falls, the monster says, "Let me show you how it's done." It punches him heavily and kicks him into a building, which shocks Sonic. He asks the monster, "Who are you?" It says, "I am the Sea King and I want to rule this world." Sonic tells him he isn't strong enough. The Sea King says, "I will kill you." The Sea King charges at Sonic. Sonic evades the attack and kicks its face. He calls the Sea King weak. Suddenly, its tongue attacks him, but Sonic slams its mouth shut, cutting it off. It tries to grab him, but Sonic dodges. Then it punches at him, but he evades all the attacks and mocks the Sea King for being weak and slow. He lands on a building. It laughs and looks at him. Suddenly, it attacks him and shatters the building. Sonic dodges but is shocked. He thinks his strength and speed have increased. The Sea King lands and has become bigger. It says, "The rain has given me strength." Elsewhere, a screen shows a reporter talking about the sea monster attack. The biker hero stops at a red light and sees Saitama. Saitama asks if he has seen Genos. Meanwhile, the TV reporter introduces the rank Fei class, a hero who is a singer and model, Handsome Amai Mask. The reporter asks him, "How would you stop the monsters now that the threat level is demon?" He says he only came to the show to promote his new song. The reporter apologizes and asks about the song. He says, "Let me say this to all heroes to keep the people safe. You need to be fast, strong, and perfect. It is a shame that some heroes lost to monsters." At this moment, Sonic and the Sea King are fighting. Sonic runs away, thinking, "My attacks have no effect on him. I need to find a weapon." As he runs, the Sea King grabs him mid-air and crushes him. He checks his hand and sees only his clothes. He looks around and spots Sonic naked. Sonic says, "I will kill you next time," and disappears. Sonic appears near Genos. Genos asks, "Who are you?" Sonic tells him, "If you're going to fight the Sea King, forget it." Sonic dashes away. Genos says, "Who was that naked man?" Suddenly, Genos senses that the Sea King is heading toward the evacuation shelter. At the shelter, a man tells his son not to worry. They are safe inside. Outside the shelter, the Sea King senses the people inside. He jumps toward it and breaks the roof and gets inside. He tells them, "Hello and goodbye," which scares the people. A blonde man raises his hands and says, "Please, we surrender. We'll do anything you say." The man is a hero who hid in the evacuation shelter. The Sea King laughs and tells him he plans to kill everyone and asks them to scream when he does. The blonde man thinks, "I'll try to delay until the S-class heroes come." But he gets terrified looking at the Sea King and pees his pants. Suddenly, two heroes jump out and say, "We will fight with you." He is shocked heroes are there. A man walks out and says he is an A-class hero. The crowd is excited that heroes are here. Meanwhile, the biker hero and Saitama head toward the monster. Saitama sees a naked man and goes to check. The biker hero gets a call. The caller tells him the shelter is under attack. He drops his phone and rides away. At the shelter, the heroes plan to attack the Sea King. Elsewhere, Saitama looks for the naked guy but sees a phone ringing on the floor. At the same time, the Sea King has defeated the heroes. It laughs and mocks the people. A voice asks, "Are you a sea monster?" At Hero HQ, the officials try to warn the biker hero to turn back, but it is Saitama who picks up the call. They ask for the biker hero. Elsewhere, the biker hero is riding at full speed toward the shelter. Saitama tells the officials, "This is the hero Saitama." We see Genos, who asks, "Are you the Sea King?" The monster says, "Yes, so what?" He lands and punches it with a blast attack that takes it outside. Genos turns around and says, "The target is destroyed. Are there any monsters left?" The crowd becomes excited and cheers. Suddenly, the Sea King appears behind him, rips off his arm and punches him into a wall. At the Hero HQ, the official asks Saitama, "You are a C rank hero. Can you fight the monster?" Saitama says, "Yes." He looks at Saitama's hero records and thinks, "People say he is a cheat." His boss says, "Let him go. Let's see if he is really strong." The official gives Saitama directions to the shelter. Meanwhile, the biker hero rides his bike towards the shelter. At the shelter, Genos tells the people to run while he fights the Sea King. The monster heals its face and says, "None of you will escape." He runs towards the people, but Genos jumps towards him with a rocket boost and kicks him in the face. They begin exchanging blows. Genos lands a punch and kicks him up out of the shelter. Then he burns him up with a blast. He blinds the Sea King with a bright flash. He flies down and punches him through the roof till he falls to the floor. As they fight, a little girl encourages Genos, "You can do it." The Sea King gets angry and spits acid at her, but Genos runs and blocks the attack, which damages him heavily. The Sea King drags his head and flings him into a wall. Then he runs and punches him out of the shelter. The Sea King says, "You could have won if you hadn't saved the girl. You hurt me, but I've healed. Now die." Just then, the biker hero arrives and throws his bike at him. Genos warns him to escape. He charges to attack the Sea King, who says, "I am bored," and catches his punch easily, slamming him like a toy on the floor. He flings the hero away and goes back to kill Genos, but the biker hero approaches and tries to tackle him again. The Sea King watches him, then he transforms and knocks the hero back. The hero struggles to stand and says, "No one expects my help because they think Class C heroes are weak." He admits, "I am too weak to be a Class B hero, and I am not strong enough to fight you." He stands up and says, "But that won't stop me." The Sea King turns around and asks, "Are you begging for your life?" The biker hero with injuries yells, "I will fight you right here and now." The people at the shelter watch him sadly. The Sea King tells him, "Enough talking. It is time you die." As they face each other, a boy shouts, "You can do it," he cries. "I believe in you." Soon, the people at the shelter begin to cheer him and wish him good luck. The biker hero yells and charges towards the Sea King, who punches him into the air, stunning everyone. The biker hero lands on Saitama's arm. The Monster King looks at him and says, "Another weakling." He notices Genos and asks if he is still alive. Genos manages to say, "Master." The Sea King appears and punches Saitama's head. He says, "Impressive. You are better than all this trash." Saitama tells him, "No, your punch was just weak." The people at the shelter recognize Saitama. They get worried because he is a Class C hero and think he is very weak. A woman says, "But the punch didn't hurt him at all." Meanwhile, the Sea King introduces himself to Saitama as the King of the Deep, and since he is the strongest from the sea, he is also the future ruler of the world. Saitama says, "It is raining. Let's fight." The Sea King throws a fist, but Saitama punches him so hard the rain stops. Everyone is stunned. The Sea King falls down dead, and everyone cheers and celebrates happily that he killed it. Saitama thinks, "I thought he was going to be stronger." Elsewhere, Sonic appears and says, "I am back with my weapons. Where are you, Sea King?" Later, at Saitama's apartment, a drone drops off a package. Genos tells Saitama it's the mail from the Hero HQ. It is dangerous to come here. Inside the box are fan letters. Genos is shocked when he reads a love letter, while Saitama opens his own. The letter calls Saitama a bald bastard. Genos sees it and tells him he would find the sender. Saitama says, "Don't bother." Genos remembers the previous day. After defeating the Sea King, the people at the shelter are praising him. A black-haired loser says, "The monster wasn't tough, and the other heroes were weak." He adds, "If a Class C hero killed it with a single punch, the other heroes aren't strong," and laughs. A man says, "Stop it, they risked their lives for us." The loser says, "It's annoying when weak people try to save you. This man did all the work." A man angrily grabs him and tells him to shut up. Genos turns to look at Saitama, who is listening. Saitama laughs, which surprises everybody. He says, "The other heroes weakened it, so beating it was easy." Genos looks at him as he adds, "I barely did anything. Now I get to take all the credit." He turns angrily and says, "Tell everyone I killed the monster." The people at the shelter start talking about him. A man with spiked hair calls him a cheat. Saitama says, "Take care of the injured heroes so I can take credit for their work." The people start calling him a cheat, saying the other heroes did better. Genos raises his head and thinks, "Master is doing this to make us heroes look good and not useless. I will not interfere with his plan." Back at the house, Saitama finds another letter written to him, and it's a note that says, "Thank you, hero." Genos tells him about a letter from the Hero Association. He opens it and finds out that he has been promoted to Class C, rank A. At the Hero HQ, Saitama is in a large hall. He asks the officials, "Why am I here?" They say, "You would know if you read the Hero Guidebook." They congratulate him on becoming C rank Fae. He asks, "Are you guys the ones who give the ranks?" They say, "Yes, we also want to interview you." They explain that his new rank allows him to jump directly into Class B if he agrees. He accepts and says, "Yes, I would like to move up." A female official tells him that they will interview him and give him some tests. Above the room, 3 officials watch them. The black man says, "He broke our test records." The lady adds, "People say he cheated." An official in glasses says, "It's just a rumor. Let's increase his rank and see if he is really strong." On a screen, we see Saitama. An official holds it for a handsome hero. He tells the official he is only interested in Class A and S heroes. He says, "I watch heroes so they don't ruin my image like last time." The official replies, Saitama was the hero who defeated the Sea King. He shows the hero a video of Saitama punching the Sea King at the Hero Association Hospital. 2 injured
For anyone who doesn't speak another language, you've got to try Duolingo. Did you know more than half the world's population speaks more than one language? Duolingo has cracked the code, making it easier than ever to learn another language. Duolingo uses research.
Rent was an NPC adventurer who couldn't level up for 10 years till a dragon ate and turned him into an undead skeleton. But when a freaky...
Today, we're reacting to an SCP that crawls inside your body.
An SCP? What's that?
Well, Mr. Black, an SCP is a super scary monster that does supernatural things. And the SCP that we'll be learning about today is one of the scariest ones. Oh, what the heck? The video just started. I'm already getting jump scared.
Yeah, looks like there's a breakout in this building.
Steps thundered. The family of three pushed forward, struggling against the frantic crowd.
Oh gosh, this poor family.
Jesse, what are they running from? Are they running from the SCP?
Clutching a duffel bag packed with their most precious belongings. Stay close, the mother shouted over the noise.
I guess we're about to find out soon, but this is very scary, especially probably for this kid.
Yes, he looks terrified.
Path through the panicked crowd. In the chaos, amidst a sea of fleeing residents, one figure stood still.
One figure stood still. Yo, is that Waldo?
Made him stick out like
Sure looks like Waldo to me.
was unsettling. His eyes hidden behind round glasses, scanning the crowd with an eerie detachment.
That is super weird. Why is bro standing still? He's like literally the only one standing still out of everybody. Maybe he's the reason why this is happening.
Maybe he's the SCP.
Why isn't he scared? Before the mother could muster a response, the
I hate bugs, guys. Like, the way they look and move is just so disgusting to me. But what could be worse than bugs? Well, maybe if those worms and bugs lived inside your body. These are called parasites, and some actually suck your blood or move around in your stomach without you knowing. That's why today I'll be showing you all the most icky and dangerous parasites that I could find. So guys, if you don't want to wake up someday with a worm crawling out your mouth, then make sure to like and subscribe. Normally, when you have worms, they usually live inside your stomach and eat your food. And that's already a nightmare to me. But in this first incident, the worm actually crawled further up into the woman's brain. And guess what happens when a hungry worm only has one thing to eat?
They pulled the worm from her brain and were shocked to find it was over 3 inches long. This type of worm had never been seen in a human before and usually infested snakes instead. The snakes would poop out the eggs, and these probably ended up on some wild greens which the woman ate. After it hatched in her gut, it traveled to her bloodstream, eventually reaching her brain. Doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with her until an abnormal brain scan finally convinced them to operate.
That little worm went on a wild ride. Imagine seeing that thing in your food, just wiggling around. I guess it wasn't hatched yet. That worm was probably having a feast while snacking on her brain. Alright guys, so when I was doing research for this video, I stumbled across probably the most icky parasite I've ever seen. Botflies. They literally lay eggs in your skin. And when they hatch, the little thing just eats your body while they grow up to an inch in your skin. Take a look.
As the mosquito drops the eggs between your toes, they hatch from your body's heat, and tiny larvae dig under your skin. As they feed and grow, they form a swollen, painful bump that oozes pus out of a small hole. To remove it, a doctor will seal its breathing hole with petroleum jelly, suffocating the worm until it wriggles upward, gasping for air. Then they carefully grip the slimy larva's body with tweezers, pulling it slowly from your flesh.
Ew, that's so disgusting. Like, if I got infected with one of those, I'd probably just pass out from disgust. Imagine trying to get that slimy thing out by your...
Inside the magical realm, a world that was blessed by the gods and protected by the dragons, there was an existence that defied the natural order of the universe, a brain-dead moron called Mash. Throughout his life, he had lived with his father in isolation. But while he was enjoying his peace, Mash broke through the door, apologizing because he forgot whether to push or pull it open. However, he promised that he would fix it, but began smashing the door back, and after pounding it in and out repeatedly, the entire door broke apart. Although Roger had grown used to how useless his son was, he continued to take care of him, without ever revealing to Mash that he was the only one unable to use magic. This was why all of Mash's training was physical, and before Roger left the house, he reminded him once again that he must never venture into the city. So Mash promised that he won't. Well, that was all bullshit. Today was the release of the Goblin Cream Puff, and he wasn't going to live without it. But as he walked around the city and saw everyone using magic, he knew that he could do all of their tricks with his hands. As he reached the bakery, the smell of the cream puffs made him excited, but when he tried paying for his order, all of the coins were bent in half. The baker wondered how that was humanly possible, but Mash took the coins back to fix them, snapping the steel back in place, and the man screamed at what he just witnessed. After handing him his cream puffs, a gust of wind blew his hat off, revealing Mash's face. In that moment, everyone grew afraid of him, as he was the only one without a mark. Meanwhile, a police officer was torturing a disgusting criminal after reading about this year's Divine Visionary, a title granted to the greatest magic users in the realm. Just then, his phone rang, alerting him that there was an unmarked child walking around. While Mash continued wondering why his grandfather never allowed him to leave their cabin, he bumped into this fat-ass dickhead, who threatened to arrest him before throwing his cream puff away. As he kept screaming about his uniform being ruined, Mash used his Giga Chad muscles to rip his shirt off, apologizing and promising to wash his clothes for him. However, Brad Coleman appeared in that moment, realizing that Mash must have been the unmarked child walking around. But before he could question him, Roger stole him away, and as soon as he was gone, Brad realized that this was his chance to finally earn a promotion, casting a magical bird to tail them into the forest. Back inside their cabin, Roger began yelling at Mash for sneaking off, but seeing how broken up he was about it, he decided to only punish him by repeating his morning routine. After Mash agreed and gave him the cream puffs as a gift, he began walking through the door. But Roger already knew how this was going to end, and opened the door to let him out. Once he was gone, he knew that it was only natural for Mash to want to go out, since he was now a teenager. But as he looked outside of his window, he saw the magical bird staring at him, as an explosion went off from the corner of his home. After the dust settled, Brad appeared with his subordinates, wondering where Mash went off to. In the forest, a squirrel felt something was off, and saw Mash playing around with the weights like it's a toy. Although it never knew what weights were, the poor squirrel knew that this creature was the scariest beast in the forest. After finishing his workout in 5 minutes, he forgot if he was supposed to pull or push his door open. But before he would destroy it, he heard Brad's voice from inside, telling Roger that his job was to rid this world from the inferior magicless demons. After all, magic was a gift from the gods, so as he threw Roger away, he told him that his son rejected God's blessings, but promised to spare him if he revealed Mash's location. Even so, Roger would never allow them to know where Mash was, because throughout his life, his family had disowned him for being a failure at using magic, and all of his bosses fired him for being useless. His life would never change, and he ended up on a cliff where he was about to passionately hug the ground. But as he was about to, he heard the voice of an annoying kid crying in the back. When he turned around, he realized that this kid didn't have a mark on its face, and thought that they were alike. As that baby smiled back at him, Roger realized that for the first time in his life, he was needed by someone, so he swore that even if they weren't related by blood, he would become Mash's father. So as Brad came closer, Roger screamed louder for Mash to run away, but Brad kicked him to the side, and as he was about to end his life, Mash broke through the door, knocking one of the officers into the other side of the forest. As he got back up, he ripped off the other officer's shirt again, and began slapping his fat ass face, before knocking him unconscious. When Roger wondered why he still came back, Mash revealed that they were family, so he would never give up on him, and swore to send anyone who tried separating them to hell. However, Brad activated his spell that drove away a dragon. But as he launched the sphere, Mash moved faster than the speed of light, slapping the blast of pure energy to the side. So Brad prepared to release his ultimate attack that would burn the entire cabin away. But after launching it, Mash slapped it to the other side of the forest. Every single attack, he would deflect it as if he was playing volleyball, juggling them like a clown, and even dribbling the sphere as if he graduated straight out of Blue Lock. But when he picked up a wand, Brad realized that he might be able to use magic after all, so he tried to cast his legendary class shield. But Mash took a pitching stance and used his skinny wand to penetrate Brad's barriers. He swore that he would kill him the next time he threatened his family. So seeing his powers, Brad decided to make a deal with him, promising to spare his grandfather. Every year, a divine visionary is selected by the School of Magic, so if he attends the Magic Academy and gets selected as chosen by God himself, society will be forced into accepting him, and Brad would gain the money that came along with it. But if he were to reject, society would continue trying to kill him and his father, so Mash accepted the deal, swearing that if the world wouldn't allow him to live in peace with his father, then he would crush the world itself with his fist. The following day at the Easton Magic Academy, Mash had entered the application exam with a fake mark on his face, and as Lucci recognized some of the worthless, ugly applicants, he began hearing the banging of metal, until he saw Mash destroying world records instead of preparing for the exam. However, he thought he must have been imagining it, but then saw him doing the invisible chair, and wondered what the fuck was up with the mentally ill morons behind him. Even so, he thought it would be easy to expel him, so he unleashed his flames to appear before the students, and all of them thought he must be extremely powerful. At that moment, Lucci began summoning desks from the ground, and the test papers flew from the sky with their quills to the side, making everyone realize he was Professor alive.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
The exam began, but as everyone realized that the words were squirming around, Lucci revealed that their first test was to dispel the curse on the paper, making Roger and Brad wonder how they ever came up with this brain-dead plan. However, Mash commanded the words to stop moving, but nothing happens.
Sensational.
Being the first person to complete the test, Lucci realized it was perfect, so Mash went on to pass the rest of the tests by running on water and even levitating the rock with his fingers. Thinking that Mash was mocking him, Lucci decided to unleash a maze from the ground, with mythical deadly monsters and a 30-minute time limit to reach the end. Mash thought this would be easy, but the hot love interest decided to enter. She begged him to help her because she would give him some top as a reward. The mushroom head decided to take her along, but she tripped on a rock and fell on her worthless face, and a bunch of goblins appeared and were about to turn this show into Goblin Slayer. Before long, he realized this useless bitch was slowing him down, so as he tried running away, she cast a spell to lock him up, revealing that she had a reason to keep him away from reaching the end. However, Mash used his Giga Chad muscles to break through the chains and sprinted away. But as Lemon was shocked with his powers, a massive deity appeared, asking her what has 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs at night. However, Lemon had no idea what the answer was, so as she was screaming for help before being killed, she realized that no one would help her since she was the one deceiving others. But as she apologized to the mushroom head, Mash dashed back, saying that a creature like that didn't exist, before eliminating the deity. When she asked him why he came back, he revealed that he felt sorry for her, since she must have had her reasons for trying to stop him. With only 30 seconds remaining, Lucci knew that it was over for Mash, but all of the students began hearing a massive banging noise, and Mash managed to break through the 1-meter-thick walls to finish the test. All of the students thought he was cheating, and began screaming at Mash to go home, so the poor guy started wanting to go home too. But as all the students began abusing him, Lemon screamed that it wasn't his fault, revealing that she was coerced by the professor to make Mash fail, since her family was too poor to allow her to attend. Even so, Mash still saved her and then asked her to marry him. She kept saying that he wanted to mash her juices out, but Mash wondered when he ever came up with any of that. However, Lucci confessed that he was trying to make Mash fail, since he was the examiner after all, and unleashed his ultimate spell, promising to kill both of them all. Roger and Brad wondered how he managed to break the wand. But as Lucci screamed back, the principal of the school appeared, initiating the final stage of the exam. Among all the students, Mash was the first to be interviewed, and Wahlberg went on to ask him why he saved the girl, even though she betrayed him while he was running out of time. Mash felt that he would have regretted leaving her behind, but Wahlberg wondered what he would have done if he wouldn't have been able to break through the walls or defeat the Sphinx. After all, there were creatures that were much more powerful than him in this world, and went on to summon the Divine Abomination, as a spear began heading towards a doll, revealing that it contained the soul of his father inside. If the knife were to stab, his father would be erased from this world. But as Mash tried punching at it, he realized that he couldn't stop it from moving. However, he began trying to pick up the spear, knowing that it was only a battle of endurance before his mana ran out. This type of person was what Wahlberg had always looked for, one who is powerful and used his strength to help the weak, a true example of the Noblesse Oblige mantra. After that, he concluded the test, but Mash decided to answer his question of what he'd do facing someone who was stronger than him, saying that even if he needed to face the headmaster again, he would knock his face out with his fist. Everyone screamed at his insolence, but Wahlberg welcomed him to the Easton Magic Academy. During his first class, some ugly, disgusting hag began showing the losers how to open a lock using magic, and asked them to try it out.
Ninapakua mara moja, kisha nasikiliza offline muda wote.
The teacher wondered what he was doing in a magical school, but Mash said that God was dead, and the guy next to him thought Mash was really bad news. From outside, a group of students stared slyly at Mash. On his way back, Finn hoped that he could be roommates with anyone except Mash, but when he went back to his room, he wondered where the door went.
You can't make this shit up!
After Finn introduced himself, Mash went on to introduce all of his muscles as well, before asking him how to become a divine visionary. So Finn went on to reveal that this was actually Spy Family, saying that a person had to collect 10 gold coins in order to qualify for the divine visionary exam. But Mash's brain had already been fried by all the information. However, he was glad that Finn was a great guy, and handed him a cream puff to celebrate their new friendship. A few weeks later, Mash had a broomstick challenge coming up, so he asked Finn if he could borrow his broomstick, because instead of buying a broomstick, the bonehead bought a burdock accidentally. During class, the teacher introduces everyone to their objective of the day, and everyone begins calling forth their broomstick to start flying. Mash looks at his broomstick and commands it to fly. It doesn't listen, so he continues commanding it to fly. A kid comes up and asks him how he isn't even able to fly a broomstick, so Mash strikes the ground with his foot to make the broomstick fly and then commands it to fly. He thinks Mash was cheating, but Mash pretends like he has no idea what's going on. To save himself from embarrassment, he challenges Mash to a race on the broomstick. What Mash doesn't know is that this kid is the best broomstick rider in the entire academy. The teacher wonders how this klutz from yesterday's class is even able to fly, but she begins the race. Mash instantly finishes the race, and the guy wonders where he went wrong in his life. The teacher is impressed by his speed to set a world record. A mysterious man viewed this happening, and Finn knows the truth. Mash threw his broom at light speeds and jumped towards it to mount it in midair. This show is f***ing ridiculous. The student accuses Mash of cheating, but Mash tells him to face the facts already because he feels bad for him. Infuriated, the student is about to start yelling at Mash, but a magical ability restrains his mouth. The blonde kid comes and apologizes on his friend's behalf. His name is Cavil, and everyone in the class fears this guy. Cavil asks him if he would like to be friends and introduces himself, but Mash thinks he looks like a cabbage. So Cavil tells Mash to come see him here after school. Outside of class, Cavil beats up his friend for embarrassing him and not following orders, but at least he found a fun toy. While walking with Finn, Mash asks him who this Cavil is, and why everyone is afraid of him. Finn reveals that his father is inside the Bureau of Magic, the most important entity in this world. Mash, of course, knew all about it, and Finn goes on to reveal that Cavil has close tie with the vice principal, so they will expel him if he defies Cavil. After school, Mash prepares cream puffs while wearing a pink apron because he's a Giga Chad. He wishes his grandpa would taste his nice white cream. Mash feels like he's forgetting something, but his cream puffs were too important. The next day in class, Mash's notebook is all torn and Cavil's lackeys laugh at him. Cavil approaches him and asks him why he didn't show up yesterday. Cavil reveals he's heard that Mash wants to become a divine visionary and promises to put a good word in for him. His only condition is to follow his orders, so Mash goes on to do every single thing that Cavil requests of him, and Finn notices. Still, his notebooks continue being torn up, and Mash asks Finn for his notebooks. Finn tries to reject, but Mash instantly teleports and takes his notebook and calls him a lifesaver. He hands him some cream puffs as a thank you, and then goes on to say that he's real glad to have a great guy like Finn as his friend. Mash continues obeying all of Cavil's orders, so Cavil pours water right in front of him and asks him to clean it up. Mash considers the situation and decides to clean it up anyway. After a while, he is impressed by how well he cleaned it. While getting up, Finn's notebook drops from his coat. Cavil says he's getting bored of textbooks, so he commands Finn to burn Mash's clothes. Finn apologizes because he can't do this anymore, begging Cavil to end this. Cavil uses his magical abilities to restrain him, and makes him get on his knees to apologize. Mash walks to give Finn his notebook back, but then what he sees before him shocks him. Mash walks toward Finn and asks him if he's okay. Finn tells him that he's alright but begins crying, saying that he was the one who's been ruining his notebooks this entire time. He's been too scared to disobey, but when he heard him saying that he's been a great friend, he couldn't handle it anymore. He just wanted to apologize to Mash, and Cavil wishes he would have gotten such a sincere apology. Afterward, he reveals that he's going to dine with the vice principal and tells Mash to ditch this lackey before he misses his chance. Mash walks towards Cavil, grabbing his hair and smashing his head into the ground, knocking him unconscious. Cavil's friends are shocked, and Mash doesn't care if he's expelled. He then realizes that he does care if he's expelled. The vice principal appears, telling him that he witnessed this entire incident. It was a violent attack and both Mash and Finn will have to deal with the consequences. And since they're of different status, they will also have a different treatment. He will enlighten the idiots, but Mash rushes forward and gives him a fierce roundhouse kick. The vice principal vows to expel Mash right at this instant, and uses his magic wand. But Mash shoves his face with dirt. He goes on to dig the ground behind him, carrying him and tossing him into the pit, and begins burying him. If he can expel Mash at any time, then Mash can also bury whenever he wants. Even if he throws Mash in prison or cuts his body, he will crawl and bury him. Later on, Mash is summoned before the headmaster. He has an order to expel him from the Bureau of Magic, the highest legal authority in this world. Divine visionaries are the ones running this bureau, which means Mash has done something unforgivable. But after only 20 seconds of explanation, Mash passes out from information overload. The headmaster tries to wake him up and tells him to just do well in his classes to get as many coins as possible. At the same time, the headmaster promises that he will do everything to protect him from the Bureau of Magic. There is one more problem that Mash will inevitably have to face, but the headmaster is confident that Mash will be able to overcome it. This was the way the vice principal and Cavil were destroyed. But Mash became recognized by everyone at the academy. The next day, Mash walks with Finn while teaching him how to create a cream puff. A guy comes up and asks him if he would like to have a duelo so they can burn in this fire that we call life. What the is up with these nutcases? His name is Tom, and all the girls go crazy over him. However, they think Mash has a mushroom haircut and make fun of his looks. Mash wonders what this guy has been smoking, so the guy reveals that they will be competing using their broomsticks like this is Harry Potter or some shit. Tom grabs Mash, telling him that they're counting on him to be at the game tomorrow. He tells him to shoot for the stars, because even if he misses, he'll land among his dreams. Mash realizes he's found someone